Hello everyone and welcome to another random bits and pieces segment from my brain, and today, sit a while, for we are playing some more Franchise Hockey Manager 6 as part of the yet again champions Ottawa Senators. Alright, so today is off-season day. Not a whole lot happened during the month of June, so as you know, I save right after the Stanley Cup has been awarded lately to us, and I usually sim until July 1st, and then I save the news. There really hasn't been a whole lot going on, so we're gonna go ahead and go through that and take a look at what's going on in my universe. So first off, right before July 1st, the Colorado Avalanche, who had a really bad season last season, they were last in the league. They fired Pierre Pagé, who had been there forever, and pretty interesting, I think. They got Steve Yzerman to replace him as the GM. Now, Pierre Pagé was the coach and the GM, so they also hired a coach. But in real life, with the rivalry between Colorado and Detroit that built during the playoffs and everything, I think it's pretty interesting to see that Steve Yzerman is going to go and be the GM of Colorado in my universe. So that happened, and like I said, they needed to get a coach, so they got Gerard Gallant, who is now going to be the coach in Colorado. So I think that they should be in pretty good hands here. Right, and then I made two minor trades right on the 30th. Those trades were offered to me. I did not offer them. So those were players. The players that I traded were players that had expiring contracts. So basically, the Hurricanes and the Bruins traded for the rights to those players. So the Hurricanes offered me Drayson Bowman for Robin Regier, so I accepted. Drayson Bowman is 20. He's a 1.5 star potential. Is he going to reach it or not? I don't know yet, but, for a 29-year-old defenseman that I was gonna let walk anyway, I thought that it was a pretty decent trade to make. Kind of the same deal with the trade with Boston. They offered me Maxime Sauvé for Peter Regan, so they kind of have the same potential and everything. Peter Regan probably has a better chance to reach his potential, I would say, but I wasn't going to re-sign him anyway, so why not? So those two trades happened. Then there's been a bunch of retirements. So Dallas Drake retired from the NHL. He was playing with the Red Wings. He was 40 years old, retired, and Detroit is going to retire his number. Sergei Fedorov retired in Florida, 39 years old, and Detroit is going to retire his number as well. Bill Guerin, who played for us for quite a while, also retiring, 38 years old, so he was in Columbus now. Kirk Maltby also retires. He was still in Edmonton, 36 years old. Kirk Maltby is retired now. Joe Sakic also retired. He was 39, 2.5 star player still. And of course, Colorado is retiring Joe Sakic's number. Again, it's kind of interesting because at that point, the decision would have been made by Steve Yzerman, who's retiring Joe Sakic's number, which they both wore the same number, 19. Anyway, it's very anecdotal. I just think it's kind of funny. Then Ray Whitney retired in San Jose. He was 37. He was still a 2.5 star player, so it kind of hurts the Sharks here. He was still a decent player. Although, he got 26 points in 34 games last season, so that wasn't bad at all. And they are retiring his number. Sergei Zubov also retiring, 38 years old, 1.5 stars. He was still with the Rangers. Retired, and number retired as well. Then there's been a minor trade between Chicago and Montreal. Chicago sent Darren Quint and Ryan Olweg to the Canadiens for Rafi Torres and Peter Retchuk. So I think it's kind of an even trade. Maybe Chicago got a little bit of the upper hand because Rafi Torres is younger than Darren Quint, so he might stay good longer. Well, not even. They didn't even re-sign him. They let him walk. He's a free agent. So Montreal won that trade again. And apparently Olaf Kolzig retired, so Washington's retiring his number. 39 years old, 1 star he was. Edmonton named Guy Carbonneau as their new head coach. So Carbo, as he's known in Quebec, has been named the coach for the Oilers. And then we got a bunch of players to join us as free agents. So 3 players joined the team. So we have Bobby Butler. I have a funny anecdote with that has to do with Bobby Butler. I don't even remember. I might have said it. So, right, so where I live, there is or used to be a AHL team, and back then Bobby Butler was in the AHL, and Now, Bobby Butler, when he was playing for Ottawa, was wearing number 16. And I happen to have a Clark MacArthur Ottawa jersey, which is also number 16. So me and my significant other, when we went to a game, Bobby Butler was on the visiting team and everything, and we got there early, and we sat in our seats, which was right behind the visitors' bench, like first row behind. And Bobby Butler had played for Ottawa, and then by that time he was in the AHL, and he saw me with my Sens jersey and my, he couldn't see the name on the back, but he saw number 16. So Bobby Butler kept shooting pucks in my direction. We were there super early, there wasn't anybody, and he was just warming up on the ice, and he kept throwing pucks in the glass right in front of me so that he would get my attention and everything. So anyway, so kind of a funny little anecdote there with Bobby Butler. Maybe he thought that I had a Bobby Butler jersey on or something, because 16 cents and I was sitting right behind the bench, so maybe he thought I was a fan of his or something. So just an anecdote, and sorry I went rambling about it, but I thought I'd share that. Then the much maligned Jared Cowan, who played for the Sens for, according to probably every single Sens fan in existence, for way too long. Thank God he didn't sign that 7 or 8 year contract that Brian Murray wanted to give him. Now, I did notice something about Jared Cowan in the game. They made a mistake. They have him shooting right. Jared Cowan was definitely a left-hand shooter. So I know I have a viewer that likes to point out mistakes that the team makes, usually with nationalities and everything. Well, that one I caught. Jared Cowan was a left shot. In real life, not a right shot. Then we have Ryan Keller joining, and then finally Mike Hoffman, who Mike Hoffman only has a 1.5 star potential. That seems a little low. Maybe it's gonna grow or something, I'm not sure. Alright, so that's it for the news and little anecdotes. Alright, so couple things here as well. So over here we have me signing the only 20-year-old draftee that we have. So it's Jim O'Brien. Played for the Sens for a little bit, then got traded and kind of played in a few different places, and then he made a comeback in the Sens organization. Was it 2 years ago, I think? So we're signing him. And then I don't know what it is about that game that hates to protect their young players, but the Kings are passing Braden Shen through waivers, so of course I've put a claim on him. I would be silly to not to. And we still have Drew Doughty that's hurt, so he's going to be ready for the season, so that's not a problem. So that's where we're at. So as usual, I'm going to go ahead and sim until the preseason. I do not need to go after free agents. There's a few free agents that are maybe a little bit interesting, but with Jim O'Brien and potentially Braden Shen, I'm going to be at 48 contracts, so I'm not going after anybody right now. Plus, I'm pretty up there with the cap. So let's get going. Alright, so we did claim Braden Shen, so he's going to be on our team now. Thank you very much. Alright, and Jim O'Brien is probably going to sign. That shouldn't be a problem. Okay, they both want number 9. That's not good. Yeah, Ryan Keller is not getting number 9. He's going to get number 36. There you go. Alright, Braden Shen would like to have number 9. How about number 10? There you go. Good boy. Alright, so as usual, there might be... It's probably gonna be pretty quiet as far as what goes on in the league for the next 2 months. Sometimes there's a few trades. Right, Jim O'Brien would like to have number 24. How about 25 instead? You couldn't wear 25 when you played for the Suns because Chris Neal had it. But we do not have Chris Neal no more. Not a whole lot going on right now. I wish they would create news for talented free agents that sign with other teams so that we get to know. So Drew Doughty started to skate. That's good. Alright, Drew Doughty getting better and better. Always good. Yeah, I'm sure you can play if I need you, but, you know, it's the middle of summer, so we're not exactly clubbered with games right now. Alright, Drew Doughty is finally recovered. Alright, so Phil Housley gets in the Hall of Fame. Al McInnes gets in the Hall of Fame. Ron Francis gets in the Hall of Fame. And Glenn Wesley got in the Hall of Fame as well. And now Drew Doughty can be put on active roster again. There we go. Again, another quiet month during August. Hopefully our players are training well so that they get many points improvements. Absolutely nothing happened in August. Nobody traded anybody, nothing. Alright. Lots of points. Look at Pietrangelo getting all kinds of upgrades. Oh, I'm so glad that Erik Karlsson got better at fighting. That's going to be very useful. Alright. Alright, so we are finally starting to get some news, even if it's scouting reports. Something's happening. Barbecue too hot to handle for Tony Ludman. Usually it's a young player that has that happen. I guess it's just random, and in the past it just so happened that it was younger players. But Tony Ludman in Calgary is hurt because he tried to cook on the barbecue and hurt himself. Alright, and in just a little bit more than a week, we are going to be playing some preseason games. Alright, it's going to be that time of the video where I have to go through all of my contracted players and recall everybody for some preseason action. Alright, where was I? Dreesen Bowman, Nikita Filatov, Kaspar Dogevans, fan favorite, Nick Drazenovich, still hanging around, Colin Greening, Braden Shen. Oh, he's already on the team. Pat Maroon. Mike Hoffman, Mike Fisher, Sam Gagne, Joe Thornton, Martin Ansel, Jim O'Brien, Cody Bass, and finally Justin Abdelkader. Alright, that should be everybody. Wow, Eric Carson got one more point of fighting again. Alright, and now a bunch of players that need numbers. Cody Bass can have... What number did he have? What, like, I want to say 54 or something like that. I'll give him 54. There you go. Drayson Bowman would like to have number 25. Well, I just gave it to Jim O'Brien, so Drayson Bowman can have number 17. There you go. Alright. Doug Evans gonna get 18. Drazanovich would like number 10. You get 60. Martin Ansel would like number 11. Sorry, buddy. You get number 51. Zach Smith would like number 15. Not gonna happen. 47. There you go. Number 14 for Colin Greening. Oh no, it's Jesse Winchester would like number 14. 48 is fine. Maxim Sauvé would like number 21. Not gonna happen. 57 it is. Justin Abdelkader would like number 8. Not gonna happen. You can have 88. There you go. Jeff Glass would like number 30. You're gonna get 35. Alright, that was fun. Alrighty, so we are starting preseason against the New York Rangers. We are going to be playing at home. Let's take a look at the Rangers and see if they've made some changes to their lineup. Alright, so in net it's still going to be Henrik Lundqvist and Al Montoya. So Lundqvist is pretty much at top ability, so they have the goaltending pretty much sorted out. Then on D, it's Mark Stahl, Fedor Tsudin, Curtis Krashtins, Matt Gilroy, Dan Girardi, Dennis Weidman, Steve Staios, and Ikainen. That's OKD. Joey Crabb, Thomas Fleischman, Nigel Dawes, Laurie Korpikoski, Curtis Glencross, Tim Jackman, Warren Peters, Doug Waite, Matt Hartigan, Jonathan Chichu, Kovalev, Pisani, and Sherpanov. That offense is not very good. Alright, let's see if we can beat them. Alright, so we are going to be facing Al Montoya, and we're going to have Brian Elliott in that. And we won the first preseason game 5-1. We outshot the Rangers 36-16. Alex Pietrangelo was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals. Sam Gagner was the second star with 2 assists. And Patrick Eves was the third star with an assist. 13,674 people in attendance for this preseason game. So Alex Pietrangelo scored the first goal of the game from Sam Gagner and Brooks Like. Then Jason Spezza on the power play from Joe Thornton. And then Alex Pietrangelo again from Sam Gagner and Patrick Eves. And it was 3-0 Sens after 1. Then in the second period, the Rangers scored, but then Jason Spezza scored on the power play from Pavel Datsyuk and Joe Thornton. It was 4-1 after 2. And in the third period, Drew Doughty scored, assisted by Marian Osa, and 5-1 was the final score in that game. Alright, so I'm gonna write that down just so I don't forget. So $56,800,000 is going to be the cap. So we are going to delete that. And now we are about to face the Buffalo Sabres in Buffalo. So again, we're going to take a look at their lineup, see what it looks like after a full preseason, off-season, sorry. Tim Thomas and Rob Zepp in net. So then on D, Philippe Boucher, Johnny Oduya, Tyler Myers, Andre Sekera, Brian Campbell, Michael Russell on D. That's a decent D. Nathan Gerby, Patrick Marleau, Clark MacArthur, Jared Smithson, Mike Knuble, Drew Stafford, Tyler Ennis, Scotty Upshaw, Derek Roy, Mike Comrie, Tommy Santella, Travis Moen, Daniel Paillet, Jason Pominville, and Thomas Vanek. Yeah, that's not too bad of a team. I think they can contend for a playoff spot. I don't know if they're going to make it to the playoffs, but it's a decent team. Alright, so we are going in with Ryan Miller. They are going to have Rob Zepp. And we lost 5-2. We outshot Buffalo 30-29. Patrick Marleau was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Clark MacArthur was the second star with 2 goals. And Thomas Vanek was the third star with a goal and an assist. So we scored first. It was Justin Abdelkader from Nikita Filatov and Matt Unwick. And then Buffalo scored twice, made it 2-1. Buffalo after 1. Then Buffalo scored again in the second period, made it 3-1 after 2. Then scored at the start of the third, made it 4-1. Then we had Zach Smith score on the power play from Martin Avlat and Martin Hansel. It was 4-2. But then Brian Campbell scored short-handed in an empty net at the end of the game, made it 5-2 Buffalo, and that was it. We lost. Red light stays on for Corey Perry, who had a hat-trick in a preseason game against the Wild. Alright, and we are now going to be hosting the Columbus Blue Jackets. So let's take a look at their lineup and see what they look like. Oh, they have Paul Stastny that's not going to be playing. He is hurt. Alright, so in net it's Manny Legacy and Steve Mason. Then on D it's Kent Hoskins, Brett Adikin, Mark Methot, Brian Allen, Oleg Tverdovsky. So it's a little... Oh, sorry, that's not all the D's. Stefan Robida, Rob Scuderi, Mike Matto, and Steve Montador on D. Yeah, okay. It's a little bit better when you add back half of the D there. So yeah, the D's alright. Rick Nash, Brad Larson, Joachim Lidstrom, Nikolai Zerdev, Derek Brassard, Mike Selinger, Mark Savard. Is it Brandon Sutter at 20 years old? Yeah, Brandon Sutter, Jakob Voracek, Cam Atkinson, Moziekin, and Aaron Asham. It's not the strongest lineup. It's okay, but it's not great. So they're gonna go with Steve Mason. We're gonna go with Brian Elliott. And we lost 5-2 again. Ooh, maybe we're going to be facing some opposition this season. We were outshot 33-22. Derek Brassard was the first star of the game. He had a goal and 2 assists. Mark Savard was the second star with 3 assists. And Rick Nash was the third star with a goal and an assist. We had 13,262 people in attendance for this game. Columbus scored 4 unanswered goals in the first period, and the game was pretty much over at that point, but hey, we're not going to give up. So in the second period, we had Ryan Keller score from Drew Doughty and Drayson Bowman, 4-1 Columbus after 2. Then we had Pavel Datsyuk score on the power play from Mark Streit and Jason Spezza, but Columbus would score again, made it 5-2, and that's of course the final score. Ooh, there's a few important injuries here. So Mike Green in Washington is out. He's going to miss 5 months due to a ruptured ulnar collateral ligament. So Mike Green out for 5 months in Washington. See you in January, buddy. Yeah, he had 51 points in 76 games last season, so that's a big blow for Washington. And then Carolina just lost Andrew Ladd for 5 months as well. Fractured coracoid bone in his shoulder. So Washington and Carolina both lost a pretty good player. Strong game for Logan Couture. With the Sharks, he had a hat-trick against the Islanders. And we are about to play the Rangers again. We just played them for the first preseason game, so I'm not gonna check their lineup again. And we're going to Ryan Miller for that one. They're gonna send Al Montoya again. And we won this one 2-1. So we outshot the Rangers 50-17. Al Montoya, despite the loss, was the first star of the game. He had 48 saves. Thomas Fleischmann was the second star with a goal, and Alex Pietrangelo was the third star with a goal as well. So the Rangers scored first, and then Pietrangelo tied the game from Joe Thornton and Matt Unwick. It was tied at 1 after 1. Then in the second period, Drew Doughty scored from Brooks Laich and Eric Condra, made it 2-1. It was 13 seconds into the second period. That was actually the last goal of the game. Nobody scored, nobody took a penalty, and not much happened the rest of the game, apparently. Oh, now it's our turn to have an injury. Joe Thornton is hurt for 5 days with shin splints. Alright. Definitely not the end of the world. Better 5 days than 5 months. Alright, and we are now hosting the Vancouver Canucks for an exhibition game. So we have not played them, so we're going to take a look here at their lineup. No injuries in Vancouver. Oof, that team seems to be struggling. So Corey Schneider and Marty Turco in net, Alex Edler, Joe Corvo, Brent Sopel, Matthias Solon, Anders Eriksson, Yaroslav Spacek, and David Petrasek on D. It's a very average D. Bates Battaglia, Fred McLaren, Daniel Sedin, Thomas Holmstrom, Shirakov, Olden, Jaffrey, Tanute, Burish, Johan Hansen, Henrik Sedin, Ivanen, Umberger, and Art Meyer. So yeah, it's gonna be tough in Vancouver. I think that is not a great lineup. Alright, so let's see if we can beat them. Corey Schneider is going to be in net for them. We are going to Brian Elliott. And we won 2-1 in overtime. Alright, so we outshot the Canucks 38-11. Pavel Datsyuk was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Corey Schneider was the second star with 36 saves. Daniel Sedin was the third star with a goal. First period didn't have any goals scored, but there was a fight between Zdeno Chara and Fraser McLaren. I think I called him Fred earlier. I'm sorry. Then in the second period, Vancouver scored first, and then Sam Gagner tied the game from Pavel Datsyuk and Jason Spezza. It was tied at 1 after 2. Nobody scored in the third, and then in overtime, Patrick Eves scored from Pavel Datsyuk and Matt Unwick. 2-1 the final score. Ooh, Zdeno Chara is hurt for 3 weeks. Alright, so he shouldn't be missing too much action. He's gonna miss maybe the first 2 weeks of play in the NHL. Strained biceps, hurt for 3 weeks. So we're gonna put him on the injury list. Right, and now we're gonna go in Toronto for a game against the Leafs. Ooh, that's gonna hurt Boston. Patrice Bergeron is hurt for 7 weeks with a fractured hand. Oh yeah, Bergeron had 78 points in 75 games last season, and now he's out for 7 weeks. Passes on point for Jason Garrison with the Panthers. He had 4 assists against Montreal. Alright, so we are in Toronto facing the Leafs. No injuries in Toronto. So it's Jonas Gustafsson and Jean-Sébastien Giguère in net. They let Ty Conklin go, apparently. So Ty Conklin had been pretty good for them, but they've let him go. Adrian Aucoin, Brendan Bell, Sergei Gonchar, Martin Skula, Kevin Bieksa, Luke Shen, and Ian White on D. That's OKD. Brad Boy, Spony Karofsky, Alexander Steen, Leo Komarov, Adam Hall, John Mitchell, Jason Williams, Travis Zajac, Antropov, Bork, Moss, Kuliman, Morozov, and Eric Cole. It's not a bad team. I would expect Toronto to probably be in the playoffs or very close, if not in the playoff picture. Alright, Ryan Miller is going to be in net for us, and Jean-Sébastien Giguère is going to be in net for Toronto. And we won 4-1. We outshot the Leafs 34-22. Patrick Eaves was the first star. He had a goal and 2 assists. Chris Kelly was the second star with a goal and an assist, and Sam Gagner was the third star with an assist. Chris Kelly opened up the scoring in the first on the power play from Martin Havlat and Patrick Eaves. It was 1-0 Sens after 1. Then in the second, we have Patrick Eaves score on the power play as well from Chris Kelly and Pavel Datsyuk. Made it 2-0 after 2. Then in the third period, Toronto scored, and we were up 2-1, but then Marian Hossa scored on the power play as well from Jason Spezza and Matt Unwick, and finally Anton Volchenkov scored from Patrick Eaves and Sam Gagner. 4-1 was the final score. A great night for Ilya Kovalchuk, who had a hat-trick against Dallas. And then finally, we have our last preseason game coming. We are going to be hosting the Nashville Predators. Alright, so Dan Amius is not going to be playing that game. He got hurt, so no Dan Amius for Nashville. In net, it's going to be probably Chad Johnson. Yeah, Chad Johnson and Picarini in net. Picarini's pretty much at top form now. Kevin Klein, Philip Novak, Roman Yossi, Ryan Suter, Thomas Elbling, Shea Weber, Marek Zidlicki, Corey Sarish, and Anton Babchuk. So there's 4 very good D, 5 if you count Dan Amius, and then it's pretty tough after that. So I would say this is a pretty good D. Scott Hartnell, Nick Spaling, Vernon Fiddler, Colin Wilson, David Legwan, Mike Santorelli, Imanen, Straka, Erat, Hendricks, Ornquist, and Brendan Siegel. So that's a pretty decent team. I would totally expect Nashville to be a pretty strong team. Alright, so Picarini is going to be in net for Nashville. We are going to Brian Elliott. And we won 3-0. We outshot Nashville 33-16. Jason Spezza was the first star. He had a goal and an assist. Alexander Radulov was the second star with 2 assists, and Patrick Eaves was the third star with an assist. 14,102 people in attendance for this game. Pavel Datsyuk opened up the scoring in the first. It was on the power play from Jason Spezza and Alexander Radulov. Then in the second period, we had Jason Spezza on the power play from Mark Streit and Alexander Radulov. And then in the third period, Mike Fisher from Brooks Like and Patrick Eves rounded up the scoring, and 3-0 was the final score in this game. Great night for Jarrett Stoll, who had a hat-trick against the Blues. Joe Thornton is feeling better. Martin Brodeur signed an extension with the Devils. And I believe it's only a 1-year deal at $3.87 million. 37 years old, Martin Brodeur, still a 4-star player. Alright, so that kind of concludes it here for this video. We've done the off-season, and as usual, I didn't go after free agents or anything like that because I don't need to. I would love to just go after free agents to, you know, create some content for the video and make it maybe a little bit more exciting or interesting, but truth is I don't need anybody, and I'm, you know, up to the throat with contracts at 48, so I can't really be going after anybody unless I am to just cut people from the team. So that's pretty much where we're at. I'm going to go ahead and save the game. And as usual, I do want to thank you for tuning in. And if you've liked the video, feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment, all of that good stuff. And until I roll this game again, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.